Why is a school teacher in space?
No.
Why is a school teacher in space?
No need to.
Why is a school teacher in space?
Why is a school teacher in space?
Why is a school teacher in space?
ProjectHailMary has landed with a lot of hype, glowing reactions, and people throwing around a lot of praise. You could say the online critics are buzzing. I've heard the words perfect and masterpiece used quite often.
This movie is a masterpiece.
And it just shows how much detail Lord and Miller put into this masterpiece.
Well, these people need to relax a bit. I get it, a cracker is a gourmet meal to a starving man, and film fans have been starving for the last decade. But has our hunger warped our reactions? And before you start, ProjectHailMary is good. It's very good. But will it become a classic? Well, we're going to talk about that.
Why?
We don't know.
Now, a quick rundown of the film. RyanGosling plays Grace, a school teacher turned reluctant hero and astronaut. He wakes up alone on a spaceship, no memory, no clue what's going on. Bit like how I feel every weekend minus the spaceship. But unlike me on those hard weekends, Grace starts to slowly remember what's going on. Earth is dying. The sun has been eaten by some space microbe, and he's on a one-way suicide mission to fix it. No pressure there, is there? No backup, no return ticket, just vibes and impending extinction. And then he gets to his destination and to his surprise, there's already an alien ship there. Same problem, same mission, different species. Now that right there is a killer premise. The idea of a human and alien teaming up and getting to know each other is always fun. The 80s bloody love that idea.
What are you worried about, Greek? Theoretically, we should already be dead.
The quality and how good this film looks feels like the natural evolution that should have happened to the films that we got in the 90s and 2000s. Films like The Matrix, Gattaca, Jurassic Park, Contact, The Fifth Element, 12 Monkeys. Back then, studios weren't terrified of original ideas. Back when sci-fi didn't need to come pre-packaged with a toy line and 6 spin-off movies, even though sometimes that ended up happening. This feels like one of those movies, just with modern visuals, and honestly, that alone makes it stand out, because after 2 decades of recycled scripts, safe storytelling, flat performances, and CGI that has somehow gotten worse even though the budgets have got bigger, ProjectHailMary feels like a return to form, a bit like how A Night of the Seven Kingdoms felt recently on TV. A simple idea executed really well by creative people with creative ideas. But here's the uncomfortable truth that might upset a few people. If ProjectHailMary dropped in the late 90s, it would have been good, maybe even great, but it wouldn't have dominated the conversation. It would have been sitting comfortably in the middle of the pack, not above those films, not redefining anything, just a solid good film. But today, after years of absolute cinematic junk food, yeah, I can understand why some people are getting very excited about this film, especially younger people who didn't grow up watching repeats of films like Silent Running, which used to be repeated on TV a couple of times a year. Now, before everyone jumps to the obvious counterpoint, yes, we are making a general observation here about the general state of current Hollywood, because there are still filmmakers out there who are actually trying, like Christopher Nolan. He's out there swinging for the fences every single time. Original ideas, massive scale, pushing the limits of what audiences can even follow. I mean, look at Tenet. Most people watching that movie were pretty lost in the story and could barely follow what the hell was going on. And I was one of them. Did I fully understand Tenet? No. Did I enjoy it? Yes, I was one of the few that did, because it was so bloody ambitious. It was trying something new, something original, and that's where this movie is different, because ProjectHailMary, well, plays it a lot safer. A lot safer. It's not trying to melt your brain like Tenet. It's not aiming for the emotional cosmic scale of Interstellar. It's more grounded, more contained, more accessible, and honestly, that's not a bad thing. Not every movie needs to feel like a physics exam wrapped in a midlife crisis. It's okay, and sometimes quite the relief, to just watch good, solid entertainment.
The world is counting on you.
To be honest, I probably preferred ProjectHailMary to Interstellar. And I know, Interstellar's a lot bigger, more ambitious, more visually insane, but it's also heavier, slower, more self-serious. ProjectHailMary is less depressing if Star doesn't have a son that he completely forgets about. A quick goodbye to my Interstellar fans. Thanks for watching up to this point. Hope we can still be friends. But before you go, there's one thing that this film does that Interstellar doesn't, and that's flirt with the cheese. This film is playing a dangerous game. It's skating on very thin ice, because Rocky the alien is adorable, like aggressively adorable, suspiciously adorable, weaponized adorable. And there are moments that you can feel the movie is leaning a little too hard into the direction of cheese. Like it's one bad decision away from turning Rocky into a Pixar side character. Like it's just just begging you to go, "Aw, look at him." Now, it never fully collapses into cringe, but boy, does it get close. Very, very close. You can just feel it wobbling on the edge.
This room boring. Science, save Earth, good plan.
Avoiding the cheese is something that Spielberg is a master at. The interactions with the kids in E.T. with their new alien companion are cute and funny, but always stay firmly on the side of feeling like it's in some type of reality. Lord and Miller, the directors of Project Hail Mary, aren't quite as skilled in that area as Spielberg. They love the cheese. The cuteness always feels like it's bordering on being layered on just that bit too thick.
Why room so messy?
Well, I wasn't expecting company, was I?
And that ties into the tone, because the tone of this film, I wouldn't say it's all over the place, but it does shift quite a bit between Act 1 and Act 2. We start with serious, grounded sci-fi, existential dread, end-of-the-world stakes, dead bodies, and then suddenly buddy comedy, quirky jokes, cute alien bonding time.
Nope. Nope. No need to.
Cheese seems to be in Lord and Miller's DNA. Sometimes it works beautifully. Other times it feels like two different movies are fighting for control. So when the serious stuff hits, it hits hard, which makes some of the lighter, cheesier moments just stand out even more.
Why is a school teacher in space?
That's not bad.
I like.
Luckily, this film's got Ryan Gosling, because this movie lives or dies with him, because his role in this is not for the faint-hearted. You need to pull off intelligence without sounding fake, humour without being annoying. You need to make emotional beats land without feeling forced. While, for a lot of this film, you're alone with a puppet. Not easy, but he somehow pulls it all off. Because, let's be honest, a few years ago they would have given this role to Chris Pratt or Ryan Reynolds, and the movie would have been bloody painful to get through. Just non-stop quips undercutting every serious moment and turning a high-stakes sci-fi story into a cheesy melodramatic mess. We've seen them try it before. Passengers, anyone? Yes, it wouldn't have worked. The movie would have been a nightmare. Luckily, we got Gosling, and he has the right balance of charm, comedic timing, and talent to pull all this off.
I have no idea what I'm doing in space.
And of course the visuals. They look incredible. It's a blend of 2001 A Space Odyssey, Silent Running, there's a bit of the Terry Gilliam weirdness, and even a touch of E.T. in there. It all feels very practical, very tangible, and not just green screen sludge. Apparently there isn't a single green screen shot in this movie, and it shows. Some people seem to be confusing that with no CGI. Sorry to break it to you, but there's quite a bit of CGI. And Rocky's design, well, you know, that wouldn't have been the easiest thing to pull off. A spider rock with no face that you can't communicate with. Not the easiest brief to work with, and somehow they made it lovable.
You're in a ball.
So Rocky, no Diane Grace atmosphere.
Nothing like a big puppet to win the audience over. Now back to that second act. This is where the movie drifts. The whole learning to communicate with Rocky, that goes on way too long.
Why is a school teacher in space?
Nope.
Why is a
Nope.
school teacher
No need.
in space?
No need to.
Why is a school teacher in space?
Why is a school teacher in space?
Why is a school teacher in space?
We get the point. You're figuring out how to talk to each other. That's cool. Can we move on? But lucky for our hero, Rocky, he understands English straight away, which is super convenient.
Don't like that voice.
Can't unhear it, really.
Scary.
In the movie, it borders on being magical, which is fine. It's just an entertaining movie, not a 4-hour linguistics lecture. But I would have enjoyed a bit of a time skip to keep things moving through the whole learning to talk section.
I am Rocky.
I like.
So, the final verdict. This is a very, very good movie. At times, a great movie. It feels like a return to form, like sci-fi remembering what it's supposed to be. But will Project Hail Mary turn into a classic that we keep revisiting? No, don't think it will. Is it one of the best films we've got in years? Yeah, it is. And that says more about the industry than it does about the movie. Going to see it isn't just about enjoying a solid film. It may also tell Hollywood we want more original ideas. Wouldn't that be a good thing?
I'm not an astronaut.
If you don't go, you die.
And I must add, after watching this, I can't stop thinking about one thing. Lord and Miller were fired by Kathleen Kennedy midway through production of their Han Solo movie. Now, who has been more creative and successful over the last decade? Lord and Miller or Kathleen Kennedy? In the end, Solo was the first Star Wars movie to lose money. Maybe Kathleen Kennedy should have let Lord and Miller finish the film, because I'm guessing it would have turned out better than the movie we got. But you never know. Maybe she did them a favour. Now they aren't linked to Star Wars, and they get to be creative making films like Project Hail Mary. And that's got to be a good thing.